Hey there, fellow adventure seekers. Welcome to the Real Travel Girl podcast. If you're looking for a little travel inspiration, you've wandered down the right path. I'm your host, Kathy Seifert. To learn more about me or get in touch, please visit my website, realtravelgirl.com. Thanks for tuning in, and I hope you enjoy today's show. You're listening to episode 3 of the Real Travel Girl podcast. Today I have the pleasure of welcoming Laney Sachs of Ortensia Blu Italian Adventures to the show. That's Ortensia Blu, ORTENSIABLU. Of course, you'll find all of Laney's contact information in today's show notes. Hey, Laney, thanks for joining us.
Hi, Kathy. Thanks for having me.
Of course. Okay, you're all in for quite a treat today because Laney is going to share her love for a very special region of Italy with us. Laney is a professional travel planner and she specializes in travel to Italy. She leads small group tours to Italy a couple of times a year, in addition to planning custom trips for her individual clients. Laney has a true passion for sharing the magic and beauty of Italy with others. On a side note here, I want to mention that Italy is a place very near and dear to my heart because it is the country of my father's heritage. So let's explore Oslo, Italy, and the Veneto region with Laney Sachs. Veneto, sorry about that. Laney, are you ready to tell us all about Oslo and your very special Prosecco tour?
I absolutely am.
Great. Tell me first, how did you choose the name Ortensia Blu for your agency, and what's the meaning in English?
Ortensia is hydrangea in Italian, and obviously blue is the color blue, Ortensia Blu, and I happen to have some really beautiful blue hydrangeas that grow in my yard. I actually have quite a few of them. So it was just sort of a name that I chose because it was something that I loved. Like I love Italy.
Oh, beautiful. Thank you so much for sharing that. And Laney, tell me, in terms of the geographical location, so we can get a visual here, where would Oslo be on a map if we're looking on it, like maybe in relation to Venice?
Okay, so if you're looking at a map and you see Venice, Oslo is northwest of Venice. It's about maybe 50 minutes by car. Okay. That's not too far. I thought it would be a lot farther away, so that's really easy. And so when we're looking at a map, that would be the upper right-hand corner of the boot. Correct.
Maybe. Okay. And what's the typical weather up there?
Oslo is sort of at the base of the mountains, the Dolomites, which you can see in the background. The weather is very much like sort of maybe the mid-Atlantic region of the United States without the snow. It doesn't typically snow in Oslo. It might snow a little bit, but the weather is usually quite lovely. April and May are really nice times to be there, as are September and October.
Okay. The summers, are they going to be fairly hot?
The summers are hot.
Okay.
If you're going as a tourist, a lot of times then it's more crowded during the summer months also.
Okay. That's really good to keep in mind. And getting there, you say maybe about 50 minutes from Venice. Are there any trains that go through over to Oslo?
There are trains that go to towns near Oslo. So you could take a train from Venice. You could take a train to Treviso, or you could take a train to Montebelluna, and then you could take a taxi or you could rent a car if you wanted to rent a car. It's really not a bad drive if you even rented a car at the Venice airport and drove.
Okay, great. And in Italy, for anybody who's never been there, Italy, they drive on the same side of the road as the United States. Is that correct?
Correct.
Oh, wonderful. Okay, so pretty easy in terms of getting to Oslo. And what sort of accommodations would we find? Are there any large hotels, or are you going to find mostly boutique-style accommodations?
Well, the historic center of Oslo, is a medieval town. It's a walled city, walled town. So there are no large hotels there. Outside of the wall, there are also no large hotels. You could find anything from a 5-star hotel to a 2-star hotel in and around Oslo. The hotel that we stay at, that we like a lot in Oslo, that we stay on our tour, is Albergo al Sole, which is a 5-star boutique hotel. There are also a couple of smaller, maybe more of like a pension type of place in Oslo as well.
Okay, and we'll definitely put links in the notes. And how old would the hotel that you're mentioning, how old is that?
Well, I think it's originally a villa from probably the 1600s.
Oh, beautiful. All right, so let's talk about the food and drink in the region. What is the typical food and drink? For anybody who's never been to Italy, the regions are all very unique in the type of food and drink that you'll find there. So what type of wine would be typical, and then what type of pasta dishes and what type of meats and seafood would we find there?
Well, Oslo is really right in the heart of the Prosecco region. So you're going to find Prosecco everywhere. Prosecco is normally drunk as an aperitivo. You would drink it first, and then you would have wine with dinner. There are some different drinks that are made with Prosecco. One is a spritz, and that's either made with Campari Prosecco and then a little splash of soda water, or Aperol Prosecco and a little splash of soda water. And a spritz is a very traditional drink in this region of Italy.
Okay, so that just sounds delicious. I haven't had dinner yet, so I'm already getting excited. Tell me about the food. What are we going to pair our spritz with?
Well, you're going to pair your food with lots of wonderful things. There are you're near Venice, you're near the water, so you will, of course, find seafood, although that's not what it's typically known for. You would find lots of pork. You would find lots of rabbit and chicken. You would find lots of vegetables. In terms of pasta, there is a bigoli, which is sort of a very thick, I'm going to call it a thick spaghetti. It's a very thick, long pasta, which is a common shape in this region. And a lot of times that's paired with a duck sauce.
A duck sauce, okay.
Duck sauce.
Being that we are in the northern west region of Italy, we're getting away from
northeast
many red sauces. We're going to have more white sauces.
And well, it's the northeast part of Italy. It's not really, I wouldn't really say a white sauce. There's not a lot of tomatoes. I mean, for sure, people do eat tomatoes. But you're going to find more tomato-based sauces for pasta in the southern part of Italy.
Okay. All right. Well, everything sounds delectable. And I know you sample all of this regional delights on the tour that you take, right?
Oh, we try.
Okay, so walk me down the main street in Oslo. Am I going to see the remnants of the medieval architecture, or are we going to see modern buildings? Are we going to see any chain stores or chain coffee houses, or is this going to be independent?
It is all cobblestones, old stone shops. You won't see any chain-related anything. All individual mom-and-pop stores, all, that are closed between 12:30 and 3:30 every day. Oslo is a really beautiful town that has wonderful shops. It has wonderful restaurants. Everything is small.
Okay, so we're going to get an authentic Italian experience in Oslo.
Absolutely.
Okay. And let me ask you, what about English speakers? Are we going to encounter people who are speaking mostly Italian, or are they going to speak both?
It's mostly going to be Italian, for sure, in the hotels, or in the larger hotels. Not that there are large hotels, but in the hotels, in the 4- and 5-star hotels, yes, the front desk would speak English. But it's not uncommon to walk into a store or a restaurant where English, the shopkeeper or the restaurant owner doesn't speak English. Okay,
that's really good to know. So at least if someone's visiting for the first time and they don't know a lot of Italian, maybe a good idea to maybe catch up on some common phrases, some conversationals, learning where to ask directions, bathroom, saying please and thank you. Maybe that's a good idea if you're traveling to Oslo.
It's always a good idea, no matter what country you are traveling to know just a few basic words and phrases. It gets you very far.
Okay, all right, very good to know. They can study their Italian on the plane on the way over. In fact, there's so many apps now that you can get on your smartphone. I've noticed that you can learn languages very easily. I understand that you just attended Italian language school. Was that in Oslo?
No, it was in Bologna. So the Bologna is maybe about an hour and 45 minutes away by car.
Okay. South?
Southwest.
Okay. And did you learn quite a bit?
Well, I was there to hopefully bring my knowledge of Italian to the next level. I've been studying Italian for a number of years, and it's a beautiful language. It's a wonderful language, but it's a language that needs to be spoken in order to learn it and to improve. And it's hard here in America to find a lot of people that speak Italian that I can practice with on a regular basis. I try to speak on the phone with my friends in Italy, but doesn't always work out time-wise. And I felt the need to go to a school in a big city like Bologna and really immerse myself.
That sounds fabulous. Definitely a dream of mine to learn Italian. And this school that you went to, is this something that tourists can sign up for?
Absolutely. They have classes ranging from beginning level to, almost fluent speaking Italian classes.
Okay, really good to know. And of course, if you're planning a trip for a client, you can probably give them all the information or maybe make the arrangements for them?
Absolutely.
Okay, wonderful. I think that would be a must if anybody had any a good amount of time, if you had a chunk of time, a couple of weeks, 3 weeks, I think it would be a really good idea to take advantage of something like that. Let's talk about Oslo in terms of, are there any other day trips from Oslo? So say somebody was staying in Oslo for a few days, where might they want to trek off to if they wanted to have a couple of day trips?
Well, there are quite a few day trips. I mean, first of all, one is Venice. If you wanted to you could just take the train and go into Venice for the day and, stay in Oslo at night. There's a beautiful town by the name of Bassano del Grappa, which is where grappa is from, and that's a short distance away. You could also go to another beautiful town called Franco. Treviso is another, that's probably one of the bigger, I'm going to call it a city nearby, and Treviso is absolutely lovely. You could go northwest a little bit to be really, really in the heart of the Prosecco, the vineyards of Prosecco near Valdobbiadene. And also in Vicenza, which is southwest, there's a U.S. Army base. Okay.
So that it sounds like there really is a lot to be explored. Would you say if somebody was flying into Venice, maybe they could stay a few days in Venice, and then would you suggest maybe at least a week staying in Oslo so they could take advantage of all of the other cities that are around there?
Yeah, because there really is just so much to see there, and each little trip is a day trip.
Okay.
You're going to want to really spend some time in some of these smaller towns. You're also nearby Padua, which is another lovely town. Verona is nearby, a little bit longer of a drive, but still doable in a day for a day trip.
Okay, and you can rent a car and easily access all of these areas.
Yes.
All right, fantastic. Let's talk about Ortensia Blu Italian Adventures Prosecco Tour. So when is the tour, Laney?
The tour is September 9th through the 15th of 2018.
Okay, and about how many people do you take on this tour?
We take a maximum of 12 people. We like to keep it small. We go to small places, so we don't want to overwhelm any place that we go, and we just find it's a really nice, intimate experience.
Yeah, keeping it small, you're going to have the opportunity for really deep connections amongst the people in the group, and also with the people that you're taking the group to the vineyard owners and the restaurateurs. It just sounds like such a great opportunity for a lot of learning and connection and really an immersive experience in this region. And how many days, you said?
It's 7 days, 6 nights.
Days. Okay. And they'll be flying into Venice, of course.
Fly in and out of Venice, correct.
And are you providing transportation as part of the tour to Oslo?
Yeah, so you arrive in Venice, you get your bags, and we have a driver waiting for you. And he takes you right up to Albergo Asolo in Oslo. And then when you go back, he does the exact same thing. He takes you right back to the airport.
Okay, fantastic. And tell me a little bit about the tour. Just kind of summarize briefly for me, what kind of sites can we expect to see on this tour? Are we going to go to a couple of different vineyards, or are we going to go to maybe see some olive oil production?
Well, on this, because we're in the heart of the Prosecco region, we do see a lot of Prosecco vineyards, and we are there right during the heart of the vendemmia, which is the harvest. and it's a really exciting time to be there. It's exciting to see the grapes being picked and to see the grapes being pressed and to just be a part of this whole area while they go through something that's been done for hundreds of years, is the harvest and the making of Prosecco. So our itinerary is very full, but still with time to do some exploring on your own. When we arrive, the day that we arrive, which is a Sunday, where normally stores are all closed in Italy, in Oslo they happen to be open because they do get a lot of local tourists that come. It's a beautiful day for a Sunday stroll, so most of the shops are open. And the next day we start off, we go right to a vineyard, a Prosecco vineyard that's been in the family for several generations. And we have a beautiful tasting with the winemakers in the vineyard. We also go to the cantina of another Prosecco producer and to see that. We have a really special tasting that day, a special type of Prosecco called Cartizze, which is sort of the creme de la creme of Prosecco. And we learn all about that and why that's different. We have a really spectacular day one day where we take a boat, a little boat, down the Sile River into the Venetian Lagoon, and we have a driver, obviously, and we have a guide, and we learn all about the surrounding areas of this the Sile River, and we go into the Venetian Lagoon and we cruise around the islands of Murano and Burano, and we stop at both. And we cruise a little bit around the Grand Canal of Venice, and there is nothing more spectacular in the world than being on a little boat, drinking Prosecco, going up the Grand Canal. We also have a cooking class one day, which is magnificent, out in the country, with a woman who really gets us going with some of the local recipes and the local food, and she's pulling stuff from her garden for us to cook. We spend a day in Bassano del Grappa, which I had mentioned before, and we go to a Grappa distillery, which is really a treat. We also go to a buffalo mozzarella producer. We go to a beautiful Palladian villa that has not only vineyards but also has olive trees where they make the olive oil. We spend one day, part of the day in Treviso, which is really a lovely city, and we have a guide who shows us around. It's really a really interesting city. It's sort of almost like a little mini Venice with some canals and such. And we have, obviously, every meal is spectacular. We get to try a lot of local foods, including tiramisu, which actually originated in Treviso.
Very fun fact. I didn't know that. So tiramisu. Wow, it sounds like an absolute fairy tale. Tell me a little bit about the guides. You are leading the tour.
I am leading the tour. Okay. My associate, Monica, who lives there, is also there to help us along. We have a guide when we go on our boat. Who is a local guide in the region. We have another guide when we go into Treviso. They're all very experienced, licensed guides in Italy. You can't just say you're a guide. You have to go to school and pass a test and have a license.
Okay. That's I didn't know that. So that's really exciting that you are utilizing the locals. And are they all English speaking, you said?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, so this is really an exciting chance for this unique, immersive, and it sounds like very intensive food and wine experience. So anyone who is a foodie or a wine lover and you really want to get close to the authentic culture of Italy, it sounds like this tour would be fabulous. And I imagine that you fill this up quickly. So if somebody wants to make a deposit, they should do that sooner than later.
Absolutely.
Okay, and of course we're going to include links to not only Laney's website, but the link to the tour itself. And tell me a little bit about Hortensia Blue's other services as far as the imported goods. And then I also know that you have more trips coming up, maybe to Sicily in the future?
Yeah, so October of 2018, from October 14th to the 23rd, we have a 10-day tour in Sicily.
And is this going to be an intensive food and wine experience?
Well, you know, you can't go to Italy without food and wine, so that's a part of it. Sicily's a little bit different because Sicily's big. Sicily's a big island. So while for the Prosecco tour we stay in one hotel the entire time and just do day trips, in order to see Sicily, we do stay in 3 different hotels during our 10 days.
Okay, so a little more fast-paced.
Little more, yeah, because it's bigger. You have to drive bigger distances to see things.
Okay, so that's going to be almost back to back. So you'll be in Italy September and October.
Yes.
Of next year. Very exciting. I know that you travel to Italy quite often. How many times a year do you go there?
Usually about twice.
Okay. Okay, so give me the dates again for the Sicily trip.
The dates of the Sicily trip are October 14th to the 23rd.
Okay. And would that trip be up on your website yet?
It is.
Okay, great. How many people are you taking for that trip?
Again, the same number. We take a maximum of 12 people.
Okay, so another chance for a very intimate experience.
Yes.
And so something else that I just love about Hortensia Blue Italian Adventures is that you have some imported goods available for purchase in the U.S., some beautiful ceramics and olive oil. You want to tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, so I have a sister website called hortensiablue.com, and I import olive oil from the Lake Garda region, which is not too far from the Veneto, and actually the eastern coast of Lake Garda is still in the Veneto. And I import the olive oil from an olive frantoio from the Manastrini family, who's been making olive oil for probably close to 60 years.
Okay, and incidentally, everyone, I actually got to try this olive oil, and it is absolutely delicious. And the little ceramics, the little tiny bowls, Laney actually sent me these little dipping bowls that you put the olive oil and balsamic in to dip your bread, and they are just the cutest little things. Do you have any pictures of those on the Hortensia Blue website?
I do, and the ceramics all actually come from Deruta, which is in Umbria. And Umbria is south of both regions that we're talking about. It's sort of in the middle of the boot, east of Tuscany. And Deruta is a town that is known for hand-painted ceramics. So, yeah, we have some really beautiful things on the website.
Okay, wonderful. And let's hear those websites one more time.
So the online store is hortensiablu.com. That's ORTENSIABLU.com. And the trips are on hortensiabluitalianadventures.com. ORTENSIABLU ItalianAdventures.com. And there's also blog.hortensiablu.com that has, sort of some of my thoughts and musings on Italy, along with lots of recipes, too.
Fantastic. And I know that you've been traveling to Italy a very long time, and that's how you've been able to formulate these very close relationships with the guides and also the people with the olive oil and the ceramics. So if somebody is looking to, maybe they can't make your trips because of timing, but if somebody is looking to go to Italy and have a custom, authentic experience, they should definitely contact Laney because of her experience in Italy. She knows Italy so well, and she really has a passion, and she also knows so many of the locals that she's going to be able to craft this beautiful itinerary that's going to be absolutely life-changing for you. And can you do like anniversary trips? Can you do groups to Italy? Maybe if somebody's celebrating an anniversary?
I can do all of those. I think there's no better place to visit than Italy, no better place to celebrate anything than Italy. And Italy is a really big country, and each part of it is different. There's always something new to see, and each region has its own specialties, its own special things that you're going to want to go to see. And there's nothing better that I love to do than to help people plan their trips to Italy.
Oh, so wonderful. Thank you so much, Laney. Why don't you give us what your best contact information is? Do you want somebody to contact you on Facebook, or do you have an email address that you prefer?
Well, my email address is laney@hortensiablu.com. It's LANEY at ORTENSIABLU.com. And Hortensia Blue Italian Adventures is also on Facebook. And absolutely, please feel free to contact me through Facebook. You could always message me. We're also on Instagram too, which is always fun to just share lots of really wonderful photos of what I'm seeing and doing in Italy.
Yes, and I want to give a little disclaimer. If you end up following Hortensia Blue on Instagram, just a warning, you're going to be hungry and you're going to have a craving for wine. I love your Instagram. It's so much fun.
Thanks,
So, Laney, I just really want to thank you so much for your time and for sharing your love for this very special place with us today.
Thank you. It was my pleasure.
All right.
Okay, that wraps up today's episode. I want to thank you so much for your support, and I encourage you to subscribe to the show. The Real Travel Girl podcast can be found in Apple Podcasts, the Google Play Store, and the Stitcher app. This is your host, Kathy Seifert, saying until next time, keep it real and enjoy the journey.